Hello and welcome to a very special Tinto talk. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late in uploading this one. It is because I went and I asked Paradox whether I was allowed to go and share some of the experiences that I had when I visited Sitges last weekend, and they told me yes, and it's crazy. The exact wording was, sure, try it. Wait, sure, just try it? Oh. Anyway, with that fun out of the way, yeah, so we have another Tinto talk today, and we are going to be looking at the changes that have been made thanks to your feedback. Again, and before we get into it, I love this artwork. This is actually so nice. Big fan of all of what we're seeing here. If anyone knows where this crown comes from, please do let me know. I would be very curious as to if it has a real world counterpart. But anyway, let us get into the Tinto talks and we'll see what is coming up today. It is the Happy Wednesday where they talk about the entirely super top secret game, the codename Project Caesar. Today they'll go through the rest of the major changes that have been made in the last year on the project, mainly due to direct feedback. So we have a new country type. As was heavily requested, they've added new Navy-based countries, and we'll find out more about them in detail and how they work, how we can play them, and as such when they talk about pirates. So the pirate situation is coming. We'll be able to play as a pirate nation, as a naval-based country, which is awesome. Ages have gotten a big change as well. One of the things that they want to do is make each age feel more unique and different to play, while also adding interesting choices. First of all, they changed the start of the Age of Renaissance to occur 5 years later, so that we can get more of a feel of what you want to do before making decisions on what bonus advances you want. So play a bit, and then you get the screen where you get to choose between the 3 different advances. Let me see if I can quickly pull that up. Advances in technology here. The screen that they're talking about here is this one here. So when Age of Renaissance pops up, this is now going to be something that we'll get 5 years later, so we can, just get to experience a little bit of what's going on before we get to make our choice. And I will remind you again as well, this is not a case of these are the only advances in the age. Basically, we're going to get 90 advances or something like that, and then 10 extras, and you got to choose these extras, or these extras. Mutually exclusive, and I believe they don't lock out mechanics. They are just nice little flavory goodnesses. But anyway, so it's going to occur 5 years later. We get a feel of what we want to do before making decisions on what bonus advances we want. Secondly, they went through how buildings unlock and made it so that guilds are unlocked in the Age of Traditions and Age of Renaissance, workshops during the Age of Reformation, and manufactories during the Age of Absolutism, and then mills in the Age of Revolutions. That's cool. I like progression. Progression makes most games just better. So having a progression system when it comes to buildings is just a good thing, in my opinion. Each new category for building increases productivity and capacity, and when you get the mills, you'll employ laborers instead of burghers. That is kind of cool. As mentioned before, they unlock hegemons. We unlock hegemons in the Age of Discovery, and the absolutism versus liberalism societal value in the Age of Absolutism. After testing, they've moved outward versus inward societal value to be unlocked when the Age of Discovery starts, and the mercantilism versus free trade societal value to the Age of Reformation. So, kind of like dotting these societal values throughout the game instead of having them all in the very start of the game, I think is a great idea. Especially because you might find that you're going down a certain path in the early game, a mercantilist path, and then having a new age unlock where you've got new advances that you might want to take that really support your playstyle going more free trade. Say you're a colonial empire and maybe free trade suits you better. I mean, most colonialists were mercantilists, but whatever. In that scenario, I think it is nice for it to be unlocked later, so you're not kind of pushed down one path early and then having to scramble to change everything around because now you decided that you want to go down the other path. So yeah, dotting them around, something more to look forward to every time you unlock a new age. So here we have the Age of Discovery. You get, so there's obviously the institutions you get, and we get some new stuff here. Exploration monthly progress for Age of Discovery, makes sense. Expected army size. Now, I have no idea what expected army size means, what it is, what it does. This is, I believe, a completely new mechanic that we have not yet been privy to. So I would be interested in hearing what this is in a future dev diary, or maybe in the comments of this dev diary. So Johan, hopefully somebody has asked you what this is. Please respond to them. Levy maintenance going up as well, and colonial maintenance going down. Also unlocks hegemons and outward versus inward societal reforms. So it is in fact the age to colonize. Each age also has some unique bonuses that are active during the entire age, changing how the age is played a bit. You also have different values for how much levies cost and the size of an expected army. What is an expected army size? I mean, it's not a force limit, because that is a soft cap, right? Expected army feels like a force minimum, if that makes sense. I guess in a way, if I was to guess, because I have no idea, obviously. If I was to guess, it would be something like, if you are under the expected army size, you get a loss in prestige and legitimacy, would be my guess. But I will point out, it is just a guess. This is not something I have insider information on. Age of Renaissance gives higher cultural tradition and an increased diplomatic capacity as to emphasize cultural progress and encourage reliance on subjects. Cool, I like that, that's cool. Age of Discovery gives cheaper colonial charters and faster exploration. Age of Reformation gives lower trade maintenance and faster religious conversions. That is kind of cool, like that. Age of Absolutism allows you to integrate subjects faster. I like it. And revoking privilege from estates is far cheaper. Fantastic, love that. Makes sense, is very flavorful for the era. Age of Revolutions reduces war score cost, also reduces the loyalty of subjects. So definitely you want to get these subjects integrated in the Age of Absolutism, otherwise you're going to struggle to keep them in the Age of Revolutions. Very cool. There has been some colonization changes. Firstly, they removed the concept of failing with exploration, as it was a source of endless frustration and rage quits among internal testers. I was not expecting rage quits, unless you consider, like, I'm going to reload this save until it succeeds as rage quit. I mean, I guess, in a way, if you want to. Anything that affects the chance of failure in an expedition now impacts the staging time of the expedition. Cool. Okay, am I in favor of that? There is such a high chance of failure in these expeditions in real life. The idea that it should just go away and not be possible to fail, I'm not sure I'm entirely behind that. But gameplay does come first, and if this is something that is just frustration with no upsides, no interesting decisions to make there, it's just, oh, yeah, no, you failed, try again, maybe. Then I can see why it would be frustrating and needing change. Speaking of staging, now when you start a colonial charter, you need to select an origin province where they will need to send pops from. To hook this into the economy part of the game better, it will also require goods to be able to ship colonists, and the current origin location gets a small boost to increasing prosperity and development while the colonial charter is active. This one is a little bit interesting, because this origin province is where the pops are going to be coming from. Why then would it have increasing prosperity and development if the pops are leaving? I'm sure it's possible to rationalize your way into understanding why that happens. Are the pops sending money back to their home province, or are they being paid to leave? And is there more? I don't know. The people that leave are leaving homes available for more people to move into, and I don't know. I'm sure it's possible to rationalize it. Nothing I've thought of right now fits super nicely. So if you have a way to rationalize this, if you have a reason why this makes sense to you, then please do leave it in the comment section below. I do read them. I am interested. Colonial charter targets now prioritize where there is a lower population, where you have foreign buildings and natural harbor suitability. I always thought that this was the case already, so the fact that it wasn't is a little surprising. But yeah, no, that makes sense now. So here is Sweden choosing where to send pops from when they colonize Norrland. Cool. Market creation. A big problem when you had a country at the edge of a market was the fact that you had low market access and thus a weaker economy, and creating a new market was prohibitively expensive. I think it was 1,000 ducats, if I remember rightly. A simple but rather elegant solution was to scale the cost of creating a new market by the market access the location currently has. It also has the added benefit of making it easy and cheap to set up a new market for your colonial subjects. All right, I like that a lot. England goes and colonizes the 13 colonies, and it is, in the British market, but with diabolically terrible market access. You can just build a new market center in, Roanoke or whatever. Cool, makes sense. I like that. That is an elegant solution to the problem. Liberating slaves peace treaty. Another thing that was requested was to force a country to release all pops they had enslaved from you. If, let's say, they raid your coast for slaves and then you send the Marines to, let's say, the shores of Tripoli, you can force them to sign a peace treaty to return all your slaves. Totally not historically something that happened, America. No. And by America, I mean America went to North Africa to liberate the slaves that the Barbary pirates were doing. The Americans weren't stealing from shores, as far as I'm aware. Culture. All right, this one is the big one. This one is the huge one that I actually am very excited about. Some of us requested a more dynamic way to handle cultures, so we've added 2 new cabinet actions, which each take about 10 years to complete. So, you can unify a culture group. If you are an empire and the dominant country of your primary culture, the Unify Culture Group cabinet action can be used on a culture group belonging to your primary culture that has no other countries with that culture group. Upon completion, your primary culture will change to a brand new culture. Pops in your country of the same culture group and language will also change to this culture. It can only be done once. So, a little bit confusing wording, but I have an example. We have France here. This is the region of France. All of these cultures, Picard, Champenois, Lorraine, Franc-Comtois, blah blah blah, Wah, Bon, right? All of these are part of the French culture group. If you are playing as France, say you've united the area, and you are the primary culture of French. You are the dominant country of the primary culture, Francienne, and you want to unify your culture group. Your primary culture will change to a brand new culture. I am assuming this means it will change to the name of the culture group, right? Say French is the culture group, Francienne is your primary culture, Francienne will change to French, and it'll go from there. And then pops in your country of the same culture group and language will also change to this country, to this culture. So all of these guys that are in that culture group will start changing to French instead of like Angevin or Berrichon or Poitevin and all that kind of stuff. This I really like. This is what I was kind of expecting to be the case. The thing I worry a little bit is hopefully it is only counting independence, right? Because here we have no other countries with that culture group. What if France has a colony, which is Francienne? Am I no longer able to unify French because I have a colony that happens to be one of the Frenches? Hopefully that is not going to be the case. Hopefully colonies will not count towards that. If so, I don't know what I'd say about that other than please make that not be the case. Alternatively, you can form a new culture. If you're a kingdom or an empire and not the dominant country of your primary culture, being an empire and not the dominant country of the primary culture is wild. I don't know if I can think of an example where that would happen. But you can break away from it and form a new culture if you so desire. Very cool. I like that a lot. So yeah, some really, really interesting cultural changes here that I think are just necessary, needed, and really welcome. Satisfaction. Keeping your pops in a state satisfied is a key part of core gameplay of Project Caesar. The balance here has been tweaked countless times over the years of development, and currently each privilege or other source of satisfaction gives small values, so it's hard to get all estates perfectly happy all the time as a player. One thing they made is that when you build buildings in lower control areas, the pops that belong to the estates these buildings employ get a small boost to satisfaction, inversely related to the current control. This makes it possible to target some infrastructure development to keep the populace happy in less central parts of your realm. Cool, I like that. Buildings are not going to give you as much in low control areas, so it having a benefit of higher satisfaction is a nice payoff, right? It makes you want to build buildings not just in your capital. If you so wish, you can also use a cabinet action targeting a specific rebel to stop their progress and even make it go backwards. Awesome. Fantastic. That is really cool as well. A way to target rebels. I can see a future where we are a small country, we conquer a new area, and we have one of our cabinet people trying to turn it into a core, the other one trying to stop it from rebelling. A little bit of in tandem work to make that process go a little bit smoother. Seems like a really cool idea. So here we have the progress of the Sardinian peasants. Monthly changes going down. Cracking down on rebels giving minus 0.49. I imagine this is probably a down to the military stat. Or it could be a combination of all three, to be perfectly honest. If you are able to administrate the area to crack down on rebels, if you are able to talk to the rebels to make them back down, or if you're able to simply scare them into submission. So all, I think, would work. You could rationalize your way into all of them. I imagine it's probably just taking one of them into account, but I can't imagine it would be, half of, like, I don't think you were using a guy at 98 skill to do this. I mean, that's always possible, but I don't know. It'd be nice to know what the specific amounts you get based on, your the guy doing it. So, this is the last Tinto Talks that Johan will write for a while, as he's handing it over to Pavia in the near future as they focus on flavor mechanics. So, next week, we're going to be talking about Voltaire's the Holy Roman Empire. So, I'm a little bit sad because I quite like Johan's dev diaries. I'm quite happy because Pavia's dev diaries tend to be much longer, and I'm also very happy that we're going to start focusing on flavor mechanics. Also, evidence right now, Johan knows how to spell flavor correctly. This is just what we have seen. This is the information that we know based on the evidence available. He knows how to spell flavor correctly. It's just unfortunate that, lowest common denominator for the game, simplified English and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I am very happy with this dev diary. I especially like the culture changes. Everything here is good. But it's all based on, like, what level of, oh my god, that is something I wasn't expecting. Some of these things I was expecting. I don't think anyone was expecting, naval based countries to not be a part of the game, based on the reaction of Johan to the suggestion back when we learned about country types. Ages mattering more, the addition of the various mechanics to various ages, awesome, like that. Everything here is good, but I especially am a fan of the culture changes. I would like to know, though, what you think. What are your favorite changes in this dev diary? Let me know in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. If you have subscribed, go and check, because YouTube does a thing where it likes to unsubscribe people. And since the last video I made, I've actually crossed 28,000 subscribers. So, yay, mini milestone for me. I quite like that. Until next time, this Friday, where we're going to learn more about the Ilkhanate IO. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you then. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.